One of the things that I have heard you talk about previously, but I'd like to see if you could expand on it a little bit is you don't necessarily obsess about all of the comments on social media, but you do have a inner circle of people
Yes.
that give you advice, and that's how you get feedback and take your strategy forward. And I'm very passionate about this idea of people should build an inner circle of advisors that they trust and get advice from them rather than just listen to the echo chamber of social media. Can you talk a little bit about that?
You've said it, right? Is at this point in my career, by having literally tens of millions of people watched and listened to the three podcasts that I host. I've hosted an iHeartRadio program. I've been a book club moderator, written 7 books, ink columns, hundreds of blogs, tens of thousands of social posts. A lot of people don't like me, and I'm okay with that. That would crush my wife. A lot of people actually don't like me. Like, read some of the stuff on Reddit, which I've stopped reading a long time ago. And I know that. And I know that I'm not trying to be all things to all people. It's not possible. And so I have surrounded myself with about 4 to 5 very trusted people that know me well. They could confess all my sins. They can have a roast of me, but they know what my intention is, and they know what my areas of growth are. They know what my expertise is. They probably see it more clearly than I do. And so I have a round table of people. I don't bring them together necessarily. I could, but I don't. And I run most of my big ideas past them. I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? I'm thinking about that. Can you look at my social media and just scroll through it for the last 3 weeks and tell me how am I perceived? I do that a lot. And not people from similar walks of life, not white, male, 50-year-old former executives with a couple commas in their income that are isolated in Salt Lake City, right? I like to have people around me that have very different walks of life. And I have one person who I tend to be a little bit right of center. I'm a Republican, but not a current Republican. And so I have a lot of my inner circle that are people that are very conservative and very liberal because I want to get their opinion. And I don't usually kowtow to them, if that's the right word, genuflect to them, but I just like to know what their perspective is on it, meaning my latest post or my social or this podcast interview or how am I perceived like this. And I just cogitate and then I go do what I think is right. And I probably hit it about 60% of the time. I'll tell you the best advice I ever got was from a communications coach. I was 30 years old and I was just promoted to my first big leadership position, a managing director of about 50 people, big sales nut in Chicago. And this communication coach said to me, Scott, when you speak as much as you do, you're going to say things you regret. You're going to get things wrong. You're going to need a do over. You're going to need to apologize. And I thought it was really valuable advice, right? Is I try not to say things that are incendiary or flagrant just for the point of being provocative. I'm a pretty provocative person, but I'm going to get things wrong. And not everyone's going to agree with everything I say. And I think the odds are in my favor. As long as I have a good conscience and my intent is pure and my desire is to help, I think a 60% batting average is good enough for me.